Gormagut, Escan Corla, and first of all, I want to support this motion. I think, COVID has brought a lot of problems for people, but COVID seems to be a cover for a lot of things at the moment in taking services away. We see it day in, day out in agriculture where things were changed. And look, some things are for the better. I'm never going to be against prosperity or moving things on. But we also have got to remember in this country that there's a generation of people that gave to this country that never had the opportunities that every one of us have got. Being able to work a computer, being able to go online, being able to be at bank online or fill up forms. And we seem to be gone to be a generation that wants to nearly cast those people aside. And I think a nation is viewed by how it looks after its elders. And we seem to have this thing in our head of basically leaving them with difficulty, to say the least, in trying to access services. And as Deputy McNamara has pointed out, you could be 90 minutes on a phone. Tell me an 85-year-old that should deserve that. Or even for one of us that should have a direct line, to be quite frank about it, like we have in some services. And in fairness, it's pretty good. But to be 45 or 50 minutes trying to get through. And then you'll hear someone coming on telling you about 40 times you can do this online. You mightn't have the broadband, first of all. That's the biggest problem for a lot of people in rural areas. And we seem to, sometimes we think we're doing good. The councils were looking after licences one time. Then we decided we were going to set up a new system. If we were going to protect the post office network in this country, or help it, I've always said that you do it, a lot of little things will make it sustainable and make it work. But we decided that, of course, because of EU rules and procurement, that a foreign company would get it. And, sometimes we do things and we think we're going forward, and in actual fact, we're going backwards. And Minister, I would ask you to listen to the Deputy. I hope that you're not going to go putting in an amendment and calling a vote to it. This needs to be revisited. This needs to be made accommodating for those people right around, especially the rural areas, and those that haven't the broadband, and those that won't be hanging on the end of a phone for 90 minutes. There's a solution to this. It needs to be done. But a better solution down the road would be, in my opinion, the likes of the post office network, where there's one 5 or 10 kilometres away from you, where someone might talk to you, because that's the worst part to a lot of this. Someone might actually talk to you, or you might see someone, not a screen. And for those people, that it would be worked out. But also, Minister, this card that's being pushed, that started off in social protection, that seems to be pushed, even though, and I would urge you to produce the document that was given to government on the legal standing of this card, because sooner or later, if you don't make the move, someone in this country will push the button and go to the courts. Because if legal advice to a government is not to be using this card other than social protection, well then you should adhere to it, is the very least. And I envisage that if you keep trying to drive this the way you're driving it, that someone around this country will have an obligation on them to basically prove that you cannot do what you're trying to do. And in the whole licence thing, I talk to people, and thankfully they come back from Australia and from different countries. And as Michael McNamara has pointed out, you go around a rigmarole for I don't know how long, trying to get licences sorted. We should nearly have a one-stop shop, and it would be a good idea for the likes of the post offices, where you could, you know, there's companies actually now setting up in Ireland. Imagine this, to try and get people that's coming back set up in this country. They are actually paying people, the person that's coming back to work in Ireland, they are paying people to get their, basically get their life in line, in the line of licences, in the line of a bank account, another thing that you could be 3 months now waiting for, and all the simple things that's necessary to make sure that, you know, we can live a normal life and fit into a community. We are crying out for people at the moment in different sectors, and we're putting every block we can in their way. The other thing in relation to licences, Minister, like a lot of the paperwork was, I think it was 1992, a lot of the paperwork was basically got rid of. And next thing, a few years later, we decided we'd bring in that you needed a trailer licence. And then there was no paperwork to show what you had. And that has caused huge problems, especially in the farming community, this trailer licence. And, you know, there should have been a resolution brought to it. And the other thing, Minister, and I would urge you to do it, day in, day out, I meet especially some elderly people that got a provisional licence years ago. They never bought a car and they had a tractor and they were tipping around with the tractor around the rural roads. And, you know, we're gone to a society now that we look at someone and say, oh, that's illegal. These people, as time progressed, weren't used to going in to the back of a van one time, and then we got officers in doing this theory test. And we have pushed a certain amount of it. We all see it as public reps, day in, day out. Some elderly farmer that might have a provisional years ago and now have no licence, and they're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. And they never got the privilege of getting secondary education, a lot of them, or indeed college education, through no fault of their own. They have lived the best education of all, a thing called life. But they are being pushed out and now left that they can't even feed a few cattle with their own bale because they've no licence. And I have urged, and I'm just blue in the face, like, to talk about road safety, and we talk about all the great things we're doing. And I've said, why don't we get a place like Mondello Park? Why don't we get a place in the west of Ireland? 4 places in Ireland. There isn't going to be an enormous amount of them. But rather than putting them through this paperwork, that they'd go around something and have all the signs up and do it a simple way to bring a person that might have difficulty, be it in learning or whatever, to try and get them inside the law, not keep this thing that we're doing is pushing people outside the law. You know, we have to show a bit of heart and we have to show ways of solving things. But the way we're gone in this country now, you look into a screen and you answer 35 out of 40 questions, or else you're a fail. That's it. Or, you know, like, everything now is referred to the computer, referred to this, that and the other. And if we keep going down that road, we're pushing more and more of them people out. And I see it day in, day out. And through no fault of their own, there's a lot of these people around the country, but they don't want to listen. You know, the people that's supposed to be promoting road safety don't appear to want to listen in putting a simple thing in place in areas that are safe. In the likes of Mondello Park is one I've just caused an example. There is 3 or 4 places around the country that you could do this, rather than telling them to go into an office and press a button on 40 questions that, first of all, they might have difficulty reading. And yeah, you'll be told you'll get a reader. But, like, it's just not as simple as that. And these people would be the finest in the world at driving. They're driving all their life, but now they're outside the system. So all I would urge you to do, Minister, is, first of all, accept the Deputy's motion. Second of all, that card, would you make a statement on that card that it's going to be scrapped for once and for all? Thank you.
Anish.